Your Eminence, I ask that you take a look at this photo. Why, that's... It's a photo of Amara, and here you can see a law book bearing the mark of the Defiant Dragons. The royal pop-in from the side officers, but what would their names be? I believe you know what that means. Very well. Royal Guard, stand down. Yes, Your Eminence. Your wish is our command. It seems there is no need to perpetuate this charade any longer. We shall speak of all we know. So then, you admit that Amara is still alive? Yes, she is under our protection in a safe location. I think you mean being held prisoner. Yeah, there isn't really any particular reason that they couldn't just kill us right now. It's like we're clearly showing up to defend this guy, and we have evidence. Like, it would make sense. It would make sense for her to have her guards kill us. This is like an evil dictatorship. And there is no like gumshoe to show up and go, "Hold it, pal." I think you mean being held prisoner. And where is she being kept? Oh. Now why would we tell the son of a traitor that? Guess she has a point there. Now heed our warning, Horned Devil. It would not be wise to inform the people that Amara yet lives. It would only serve to plunge public order into chaos. I have no intention of doing that. Besides, there are real terrorists out there who might try to kill her. Good. Now, there was something we have been meaning to ask you. Do you know what has become of the Founder's Orb? The Founder's Orb went missing after Dirk took it into the tomb. As his son, we thought you might know something of its current whereabouts. Watch the twist be that Dirk and Amara switched places 26 years ago, and it is accurate that Amara is being held prisoner, and it's Dirk who was murdered. So, I had considered that it's possible that this picture is fake, that this is just some guy, and that Dirk really is Apollo's father. If I didn't already say that out loud, I'm also considering that as an option. Either Dirk, or maybe that was a picture of, maybe this is a picture of Dirk, and he's the one who died, and stuff. Doesn't her being, yes, I imagine that he's going to get around to that. He's going to be like, so wait a second, how is Dirk a traitor if Amara is still alive? I knew it. I suppose I should thank you for that free running tour of Khura'in. That was the Royal Guard's own doing. Nice try, lady, but now you're definitely not getting the orb, ever. Why do you want the orb so badly, anyway? Because it would be most dangerous in the wrong hands. It must be recovered. Is the legend true? Can that orb really impart spiritual power? Are you worried that someone could overthrow you with it? The Holy Mother's power is without equal. Should Her Holiness once again return to our world, she could conceivably bestow great power upon the one who unlocked the orb's secret. I guess it makes sense, considering spirit channeling is a fact of life here. Also a fact of life everywhere on Earth? Doesn't it work that way? So we ask you, Horned Devil, did you receive the Founder's Orb from Dirk? Does it look like I did? So you like to play games, do you? Royal Guard. Yes, Your Eminence. Search this devil and his belongings. What? At once, Your Eminence. Don't move, you're only making this harder on yourself. Arg. Yikes, cut it out. Arg, what the... Apollo, don't strip here. Stop resisting. Just submit to our strip search already. No, wait. Hey, cut it out. Awfully intrusive. Agh! Well, now I'm naked. I hope you're happy. Rest in pieces, my poor tattered dignity. There's no sign of the Founder's orb, Your Eminence. So, you have hidden it somewhere. No matter. We shall recover it one way or another once you are found guilty of abetting the accused. Perform discovery. Yeah, this is just discovery. This is just what you do before a court case. Dirk was right. She really is bent on getting the orb. Mother! Looks like the princess is back. I took a stroll to try to calm myself, but I still find this situation unacceptable. The people must be informed about Queen Amara. So she does know about that. Rafa, you do not yet possess a clear grasp of how a government and its people interact. There will always be secrets that must be kept from the ignorant masses. Like the origins of the Dragon Song War. We're doing that again, too. You have little faith in our people, Mother, but it is the royal priestess's duty to always speak the truth. And as such, I cannot remain silent. I will not. Maybe she's Nana. The truth, you say. Your mind has been poisoned by the barbed one. It was an honor and a pleasure, Your Eminence. We must speak with our child. It is a mother's duty to discipline her child, after all. Now, if you would excuse us. Discipline? Coming from her, I don't like the sound of that at all. Well, Apollo, let's head back to the safe house for now. Good idea. We need to go over what we found and collect our thoughts and be followed. What do you want? Again with the dang spiders. Oh, you're back. Thank you for holding down the fort, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth. Sorry it took so long. Hope you weren't too bored. I watched the Plumed Punisher, warrior of Neo-Twilight Realm, while you were gone. And my verdict is, it's an outrage, especially its theme song. Even worse, the people here believe it's an original Khura'inese shell. Can you believe it? I've already spoken at it. Why is this all... It was auto-advancing. Was he rambling? I've already spoken about it at length with Mr. Arble here, and he... I'm not sure what he's babbling about, but at least it seems he wasn't bored. Moving along to the things that actually matter... We've gathered about all the information and evidence we can concerning this case. I think it's time we go over everything we've learned so far. The Orb Trial, Maya's abduction, and the murder of the mastermind behind it all, Justice Minister Inga. It's a lot to consider. Think you have all the facts straight in your head? Yep, I've got it covered, Mr. Wright. It's the truth about what really went down that's going to be the problem. Yeah, it's like the more we learn about this case, the less we understand. Basically, yeah, that is what happened. I agree. There's a deep darkness enveloping this case. I'm almost afraid of what we will find once we lift that black veil. Suffice to say, the real killer is certainly waiting underneath. The real killer, huh? Now that's the million-dollar question. Who killed Inga, and why? Think, Apollo. Who would you say had a motive to commit this crime? The Queen? I, for one, am drawing a complete blank. I want to know how the killer slipped into the tomb, killed Inga, and slipped back out without ever being seen. That's a bona fide locked room mystery right there. Well, we've collected plenty of evidence and statements. I just hope the rest comes out in court. It'll be a thinner tightrope than usual, that's for sure. This case has one big fly in the ointment. In order to prove Dirk completely innocent, we'll also have to exonerate him of the crimes committed 23 years ago, because of course we will. Amara's supposed assassination. Which is fun. I was just talking last night to Pitch Shifter about Thundercats, and when I looked it up, it was animated in Japan. Like, it wasn't released in Japan as an anime. It only aired in America, but it was animated by Disney Japan, or whatever Disney Japan was called back in the 80s. I'm like, that kind of makes sense, because it did have a very, you know, anime style compared to most cartoons around that time. Right. We know Amara is still alive, but Dirk could still be charged with plotting to kill her. He couldn't discover the truth, even after 2 decades of investigation. So our biggest hurdle is going to be the complete lack of evidence. The fire made sure of that. Mr. Wright, have you ever won a case without any evidence? This is not true. You have walked into court cases with nothing but the badge. Just the badge in the court record. Pretty much the first case of every trial. That's one thing I've never done before, lied Phoenix. A trial unprecedented even in the decorated annals of the Wright Anything Agency. Still, I can't help but wonder, was there really no evidence left behind? Oh, and we can't forget about the Defense Culpability Act. Those who would support criminals will be deemed just as guilty. In short, if Dirk is found guilty and sentenced to death... Phoenix, did you really think I was going to forget this? Beat the charges or die? What kind of crazy upside-down legal system is this, anyway? Kangaroo court. Don't worry, I can't ask someone as young as you to risk your life, Athena, so tomorrow, it'll just be me and Apollo on the courtroom floor. But you can support us by watching from the gallery. What? No! I want to help. I'm a part of the agency too, after all. Sorry, but this is a direct order from your boss. Doesn't the client get to choose whether someone represents him or not? Plus, there's Prosecutor Blackwell to think of. He said he'd use me for sword practice if I put you in harm's way. Only 2 people fit behind these tables. This isn't a crossover title. Oh, well, I'm sure she's gonna join them anyway. Simon. Well, at least promise me this, you two. Promise me you'll make it back alive. Make it back alive, huh? What's with that face, Apollo? You'll never inspire confidence in your client like that. And it'll play right into the prosecution's hands. Remember, the worst of times are when lawyers have to force their biggest smiles. You're right. Even when it seems hopeless or when there's not a shred of evidence to be found. We can never let it show on our faces, right? Apollo and Athena can just wear one big trench coat. But will I actually be able to do that tomorrow? When push comes to shove, will I be able to force my biggest smile? Oh, nice! We made it out of the spider factory unscathed. The dangle spider did not drop down even once. I am overjoyed. Bleop. So I feel like we already know so much of what's... We already know so much of how... Oh, God. How things are going to tie together. Oh, this was how the game opened. They actually opened with that cutscene. To, like, as a flash forward. Terrible. Get out of my sight. It's complete chaos outside. Let's just say the Defiant Dragon supporters demonstrating for Dirk's freedom have taken a very special interest in the outcome of today's trial. They look about ready to string us up if we lose. Trials here are pretty much like the ones back home, but with one major difference. Just one. The divination seance. The victim's final memories will become a matter for deliberation. I've heard about that. But they haven't stopped you from winning your cases here in Khura'in. True, but it wasn't easy. Still, the memories of the dead are simply another piece of evidence. There's always a way to deal with them if your client is truly innocent. Well, I know Dirk is innocent, but I have one more big secret. One more Daihimitsu. Apollo, in court tomorrow, you may find yourself faced with a truth that is difficult to accept, but I know you. I know you can handle the truth no matter what it turns out to be. Dirk, what is that secret you're keeping? Hey, EJ. Here you go, just like I promised. Just walking around with it, Dirk? My God. Thanks, Dots. Wait, weren't you arrested by the police yesterday? You're like, no, it's fine. I punched and kicked them and threw bombs at them and bit them. You spent one night in the slammer. We watched your crimes. We saw them. I had a fine meal, a shower, even a bed. What more could I ask for? That actually sounds way better than where we're staying. Just remember, AJ, if Dirk's found guilty today, we'll all probably be found guilty under the Defense Culpability Act too. Him too? Yeah, Naida said something to that effect. That witch Khura'in wants to take advantage of today to crush our revolution once and for all. The fate of the revolution and every Khura'inese person rests on this trial. We're counting on you, AJ. We'll be Daijobu. I'm gonna win this one, you'll see. Garrett, what's up? The trial will begin shortly, Apollo. Let's make our way into the courtroom. Right. The whole riot. Publicly executed simultaneously. Fortunately, all of the guards are not human beings. They're just robots following orders. So will this trial... It says trial day 2 over here. You can see that, right? But when we came in, it said day 1, because it's day 1 of this trial, even though it's day 2 of this episode. So... is this trial going to be over in one day, or are we going to leave? It might be over in one day. In which case, I guess we'll finish it up tomorrow. Is this the... yeah, this is assuredly the final case of the game. Let the trial of Dirk Sadmadi begin. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Majesty. So it's really come down to this. Well, don't expect me to hold anything back, Naida. Yeah, I guess, I mean, I wasn't planning on going to see the Sonic movie just because I don't see a whole lot of movies in theaters anymore. But it did look, I am glad that they changed it. Like, it's ridiculous to look at how it looks now, and then when you look back at the old trailer, you're like, there's no way that somebody could have approved this, right? They could have said, okay, make him look like this. Nope, less like the video game, even less, way less, a little more less. Okay, perfect. Perfect. This is exactly right. Release it. This trial will examine both the murder of Justice Minister Inga Khura'in and the assassination of the former queen, Amara Sigator Khura'in. First, I believe we should address the murder of Minister Inga. Would that be acceptable, Prosecutor Sadmati? That's... Prosecutor Sadmati? Yes, of course. Please proceed. What's with him? How very unlike you, Prosecutor. Is your mind elsewhere this day? More realism. That's so weird to think. Have there been, have there been other bad video game movies? Yes, of course. But, I guess, Mario Brothers really does set the standard, right? They're like, let's do a movie based on the most popular video game in the world, Super Mario Brothers, and we'll make it all realistic. There'll be nothing cartoony or fun or bright and colorful or animated. It'll all be gross and realistic and nonsensical. And Bob Hoskins. Not at all, Your Majesty. Are you really going to be able to go through with this, Nayuta? Well, Prosecutor Sadmati, I would be remiss if I failed to voice a concern of mine. I have heard mention that you are the son to the accused, Dirk Sadmati. That's... You have heard true. Does that fact pose some sort of a problem, Your Majesty? More a collection of... That's a great description of it. Although I'm also saying that having not seen it since 1980 whatever. Collection of Mario cameos in an entirely unrelated film. A father being prosecuted by his own son? Could one possibly deliberate such a case without having personal feelings intervene? Yes, without question. Can he really handle this? Even if it is Prosecutor Sadmati going against his own father is just... How can the son of a criminal even be a prosecutor in the first place? He objected. Dirk? Fellow citizens, you would do well not to underestimate my son. He's not one to allow personal feelings to interfere with the execution of his duty. Isn't that right, Nayuta? I will not stop until my work here is done. See? So all you doubters and haters and hater players and player haters, just sit back down before you trip over your own stupidity. Ha 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 ha. My other son, however, 100% letting his emotions interfere. The accused will not take to the stand without first being summoned. In any case, if Prosecutor Sadmati has no issue with this arrangement, then let us commence the deliberations. The Queen? One moment, if you would. Your Eminence? Your Eminence, what brings you here? There is room for two behind the other bench. Your Majesty, it would appear that Prosecutor Sadmati does indeed have some reservations. No, that's not true. Did you truly believe you could deceive me, Nayuta Sadmati? One should hold no reservations if one is to stand on these hallowed funerary grounds. I have none, Your Eminence. No, it is clear we cannot leave this matter to you. We shall handle the prosecutor of enemy of the crown, Dirk Sadmati, personally. But remain by our side and bear witness to how a true prosecutor enforces the law. Excuse me, but is the Queen going to prosecute the case? Is that, kosher? I'd like to declare a bad court thingy. There is no need for concern. Before we were crowned Queen, we served as a prosecutor. Really? As a foreigner, your ignorance can be excused, but know this. The prosecutor in charge of the Queen Amarok assassination case 23 years ago was none other than Her Eminence, Queen Garan Sigator Khura'in. Yeah, so what if the Pope was also the king and also was the prosecutor in your criminal case? First your magistry, and now this. Why doesn't anybody ever tell me these things? I'd heard she'd served as the Minister of Justice, but she was also a prosecutor? I'm guessing she probably moved up the ladder from prosecutor to Justice Minister. We prosecuted that case 23 years ago, but no verdict was ever rendered. We had won guilty verdicts in every case until then, for no lawyer could stand up to us. I am at a loss for words. To think I would once more bear witness to Her Eminence at work in the Hall of Justice. Different ladder. You gotta Donkey Kong Jr. style go across the vines. You gotta go to the other ladder and climb that one. That's how you get to the Queen. Our first trial in 23 years. No quarter shall be given to criminals. We shall prosecute them with all our might. What? Apollo, please, be more surprised than that. Okay. She just had some guards stand in front of her for 4 seconds while she put on her X-Men costume. That's Queen Garan. Talk about an extreme makeover. Oh good, she has claws and a weapon. Can we just... Hang on, sorry. We need a break from this. I can't voice you yet, lady. Have they ever had, like, honest question, have they ever had something that ridiculous happen in a Phoenix Wright game? I'm actually asking that question. Has anything been as ridiculous as that just now? This isn't even her final form, Vulcan Phase. It isn't even her final form. This is something else. She's obviously evil. We can't have her wearing all white in the corner. We get her this purple spiky corset thing. Are there spikes on the corset? Or is it just her hair? Just her flying hair. And claws. Yes. All right. Serious now, because we're in court. This is serious. It's all coming back now, the feel of my blood pumping through my veins. Woe to you, O enemies of Khura'in, for I shall personally slice, dice, and grind you up into hog feed. I don't suppose I can ask her to roll back to her polite pre-makeover personality. Know this, lawyer. Yes? Now that I stand as prosecutor, consider your defense's bench a headsman's scaffold. If you wish to leave any last words, I advise you to start thinking of them now. While you still have a head with which to think, that is. Probably, yes. She will probably channel people during the trial. She can just do that, right? She'll be like, I call upon Nail Von Darnus. And that'll happen. Freaking Dalamud will fall on the courtroom. Meep. She's dead serious. Now it is time for the divination seance. Rafa, come forth. Your benevolence, thank you for gracing us with your presence. Your benevolence? I understand it may be difficult for you, but may we proceed with the divination seance? Yes, let us proceed. Forgive me for asking, but are you feeling physically unwell? If so, I would advise you to avoid any undue exertion. Your benevolence? What's wrong? It's like her mind's anywhere but here. A lot's happened since yesterday. On top of the murder of her beloved father, she found out that he'd been planning a coup. And today she'll have to experience his death through her own eyes. Yeah, that would be enough to shake anyone up. Still, it seems like she's worse off today than she was yesterday. And then we have to prove it wasn't Bahamut that dropped Dalamud at the time of the during 1.0. The 1.0 incident. Or no, we have to prove that Sid's father is innocent. Midas Saz Garland, or whatever his title was. We have to prove Midas was innocent. Yeah, I don't remember her being this depressed. We must speak with our child. It is a mother's duty to discipline our child, after all. Now, if you would excuse us. Discipline? Coming from her, I don't like the sound of that at all. Wait. Khura'in didn't do something to her, did she? Your Eminence, about today's divination seance. As I understand it, the prosecution is yet to review its content. Is this deviation from protocol a part of your plan? Prosecutor Sadmati, would you care to explain your actions? Your Eminence, the accused was caught at the scene of the crime. Therefore, I deemed no seance would be necessary for such a clear-cut case. Oh, she looks like Rose from Street Fighter. That's who she. Now that she's doing a thing, she's almost. Is she supposed to look just like Rose from Street Fighter? Hold on. Rose, Street Fighter. Okay, I guess Rose wears red, not purple. The hair is very similar. Kind of. I think she looks a lot like Rose from Street Fighter. Hey, Savine. Ridiculous things are happening. I was blown away. You and your bleeding heart. You seek to spare Rafa the trauma of witnessing her father's death. Is that why you have done this? Not at all. You were concerned for me, Prosecutor Sadmati? That's oddly compassionate of him, all things considered. Your Eminence, your Majesty, Regardless of what is best for her benevolence, this case is blessed with a bounty of incontrovertible evidence. So I believed we can reach a swift verdict without devoting precious time to a seance. Ridiculous? No, I think this actually tops anything that's ever happened in a Phoenix Wright game. Period. The moment of transformation where she turned from the queen into the freaking final boss of an I don't even know game. You have a point. Personally, I would like to spare her benevolence any undue misery. Experiencing the murder of a loved one is a burden no one should have to bear.
Prosecutor Sadmati, your majesty, can this trial truly proceed without a divination seance?
That one time Phoenix... No. Phoenix wasn't turned into a statue. That was Leighton, and it turned out that he was not. It was rather silly, the way that we thought he was. I can't blame her for not wanting to experience her father's murder firsthand. Your Eminence, what are your feelings on the matter? Shall we have her benevolence return home for some much-needed rest?
We shall not.
I need, like, a voice changer. I need to get some serious reverb on this.
You fool, spoil her with your feckless words of compassion.
Bang, bang, Except I wouldn't be able to do, like, she's gonna be, like, the main talker for the next 4 hours. I can't really do it myself.
Listen well, Rafa. You have spoken time and time again about how grown up you are now.
Yes, but...
So let us see if the royal priestess has truly come into her own. Are you prepared to fulfill your duty and perform the divination seance as you should?
Yes.
That's better. See? Problem solved.
What is so weird is... Do we have a picture of her as she used to appear? This is what she looked like before, right? That she's like, oh, I'm the queen, and I'm blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yes, I'm going to prosecute the court. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, she used to be a prosecutor. And he's like, oh, yes, give me one moment. And her guards, like, ran in front of her and stood there for 4 seconds, and then came apart, and it was her in full, like, succubus mode. With tentacles and horns and smoke coming out of her ears. Poor Rafa. Is this really a good idea? I guess we'll see.
Very well. Let us begin the divination seance. Nana, my robe.
Oh! Looks like Nana's still missing. It's been a whole day already.
Barbed head.
Yes?
You remove my robe.
What? Why me? Don't keep her benevolence waiting now, Mr. Wright. Can't you see she's ready to begin? Great. I've been reduced to royal robe remover. It's like she's grooming Mr. Wright to be Nana's replacement. Very well, your benevolence. Please start when you are ready.
Come, Rafa, you know what must be done. There is no turning back now.
Phoenix, undress this underage woman this instant. And animate it, please, animators. And doujin artists. Make a manga out of it. We are in court, after all. The final memories of the deceased. This should be interesting.
O Holy Mother, we hold this divination seance in your name. Let the eyes of everyone here be clear, and our ears be unstopped. O dance of devotion, guide the victim's soul to me. so that we may receive their final memories in the pool of souls.
So, reminder, I fully expect that when we see this, vision, something will be weird about the faces. Either people won't have faces or something. Because Inga, from the one clue, it's only from the one clue, but I feel so sure that that he has prosopagnosia, face blindness. You know what? I've never actually looked and made sure that that's really what it's called, and that Uchikoshi didn't just make up that word. Probably sound like a lunatic. Going around talking about diseases that don't even exist. I mean, face blindness does exist, sort of. But I've never checked to make sure that prosopagnosia is what it's called. Makes sense. .2, yeah. I'm all done with the MSQ. I actually only did the MSQ yesterday. I was focusing on other stuff before that. Whoa. Hag. Aung. Your benevolence! What's wrong? This is unacceptable. Bailiff, take her benevolence to the first aid station at once. Sir, I know you're so upset that Rafa would die. This is not good. Your Eminence, do you have any idea why her benevolence collapsed so suddenly? It seems she was not ready for what the deceased was to reveal. It overwhelmed her. Her inexperience and immaturity left her ill-prepared to face her father's death. And she said she could go through with it. How very disappointing. I know someone who's not winning Mother of the Year, ever. I mean, of course Rafe is going to be overwhelmed. She's still just a child. It seems we have no choice but to move on to witness testimony. Your Majesty? Oh, yes. Let us proceed. Bailiff, summon the first witness, if you would. Is this not the accused? It is indeed. I thought I would give him the opportunity to plead his case. For true justice is more than a unilateral presentation of the facts by the prosecution. It seems uncharacteristically fair of her. However, should the accused fail to produce convincing testimony, he, along with his cabal of traitorous lawyers, shall immediately be found guilty, and their heads will roll from their shoulders. What? I should have known there was a catch. Your court, your rules. Same as it always was, I see, Garan. Now then, Mr. Dirk Sadmadi, if you could enlighten us as to what happened. Phoenix opposing Apollo? Oh, it was because Maya was being held hostage. Maya was captured, and Phoenix was told, "Hey, be this guy's client, and win, and we'll release Maya." Well, I would if I could. I was struck by a sudden dizziness the moment I entered the tomb. Everything from that point forward took place in the Neo World program. The next thing I knew, I was standing there with a bloody knife in my hand, and lying right in front of me was Inga, dead as a doornail. I have no recollection of what happened in the interim, but I didn't kill him. At least, I don't think I did. It'd go against everything I believe in. Didn't explain squat. For the record, let it be known that the accused's fingerprints were all over the murder weapon, and since he was caught in the act, there was no chance for a third party to tamper with it. Well, that certainly seems to point the finger at you, Mr. Sadmati. Even as a lawyer, I have to agree with you there, Your Majesty. Seriously, Dirk, this is no laughing matter. This is exactly what Garan wanted, to have Dirk try to plead his case only to fail miserably. How low can she go? Prosecutor, behold this most unpleasant of spectacles, and let it be etched into your soul. See how instead of accepting the inevitable, those fish-brained lawyers flounder and flop themselves straight into the abyss of despair. Yes, Your Eminence, show me the way. Now then, would the defense please begin their cross-examination?
Hold it!
You were struck by a sudden dizziness. Was it because of his illness? Is that something that has ever happened to you before? Can't say that it has. Maybe age is catching up with me. I'm no spring chicken after all. It's not the issue here. A most cunning excuse. One befitting an insidious insurgent. Oh? A killer who does not recall his crime. How very convenient. Next, I imagine you will plead insanity. You aim to seek a lesser sentence through excuses and subterfuge, do you not? Don't make me laugh, your malevolence. Ooh! How dare you? I'm merely stating my innocence. I've no intention of offering excuses. It's your baseless speculation that I would decry as foolish, you deceitful witch. Is it your wish that I should claim your head right now in this very hall? With my X-Man powers? Well, that would certainly speed things along.
Hold it!
Dirk, why don't you let me handle it from here? And if there's anything you need to say, you can say it through me, okay? Anything to stop you from needling the queen. Next time you have an objection, you'd better have some proof to go with it, Dirk. The accused will continue with what he does recall of the crime. Let me jump forward to, I think the, This is actually incorrect. It'd go against everything I believe in.
Hold it!
I mean, wasn't he trying to stop Inga? Can you state that you didn't kill him more definitively? How can I, when I have no memory of what happened? Can you at least state whether or not you are a murderer? That I can do. I am not a murderer, and I would never kill anyone, no matter the circumstances. And do you have any evidence to support your claim that you did not kill the minister? Evidence? No. Can't say I do. In that case, You will strike the statement, "I didn't kill him," from your testimony. Wait, you can't just discard testimony like that. I mean, I'm the one cross-examining the defendant and all. Hold your prattling tongue, foreign devil. I am the queen of this kingdom. And the queen is the law. As such, I need not follow the laws that are in place. I can make and break them at will. Henceforth, the accused will refrain from stating, "I didn't kill him." What? Sure, whatever. It's the Khura'in show, after all, same as always. How interesting... Okay. I don't think it'll actually happen, but imagine if somehow this case was not... Similar to, like, we've had one case before where you don't actually prove it. You just go, hey, we've gotten to the point where the accused is going to admit to the crime despite the fact that we can't prove it, right? What if the goal of the court case was actually to make her actions in court so ridiculous that the rebellion succeeds? That people go, okay, he was found guilty because she actually, like, passed a law in court that says people named Dirk are guilty and will be put to death. And that's how you win. By going, this is clearly, even more clearly than usual, a kangaroo court. Like, a completely unfair court. New law, you're wrong, I'm right forever, and always and forever +1. Alright, so he changed this statement. I guess there's no evidence that proves I didn't kill him either. Dirk, leave the evidence finding to me. Now please, will you stop agreeing with everything the prosecution says? Yeah, it's just, we've never had something like this before, where we go, the prosecutor actually, like, and the judge is complicit in it, the prosecutor actually has the ability to make new laws on the spot, right? It almost harkens back to case 1-5, where Gantz was like, hey, I can just decide what evidence is and isn't allowed to be introduced. He's like, I'm the guy who's in charge of that. So if you introduce evidence that wasn't already part of the court case, even if it proves me guilty, I can just say, nope, that evidence isn't allowed in court. Like, that sort of meta power of going, I get to decide what happens in the court because I have, you know, jurisdictional powers of that nature. So they did play around with that at least once with Damon Gantz, where you in that case you win by tricking him into allowing a piece of evidence that he doesn't think is going to prove him wrong. I'll stick to the facts from now on. But remember, son, if you truly believe in me, you should be able to prove my innocence. I know you can do it. He believes I'll prove him innocent. Even with all these inconvenient truths, is that what he's saying? I think Dirk might be onto something. Even the most disadvantageous facts may point the way to the truth, so don't ignore them. Think of them as food for thought. Don't worry, I know. The worst of times are when lawyers have to force their biggest smiles. I need to remember that, no matter how difficult the facts may be to deal with. His testimony didn't exactly explain anything, did it? Nope. In fact, he basically just testified to the fact that he can't explain himself. But that's undoubtedly what Khura'in wanted. Yes, great. Apollo, we need to turn Dirk's non-explanation into an explanation about something. Fast. We must have some evidence, right? I mean, this looks like a disprovable statement. There's no evidence that proves I didn't kill him. This slightly suggests that. I mean, this is mysterious, but it's not really. I don't think it's what they're looking for here. Let's press on everything instead.
Hold it!
Do you recall anyone putting the knife in your hand, Dirk? Wish I could say I did, but I don't remember a thing from before I came to. You think there might have been a third party in the tomb, son? Yeah, because if you didn't do it, then the real killer must have been there with you. You called, Your Eminence? She go anywhere without those goons? Was there a third party in the tomb when you were securing it? No, Your Eminence. We searched high and low, but found no one of the sort. And there you have it. Oh, right. They did search the place. Furthermore, my guards had the entire tomb surrounded, so there was no way for anyone to escape. That's right. No one got in or out without our knowledge. Her Eminence's on-site directives were absolutely flawless. Arg. Do you see now? The presence of a third party is beyond the realm of possibility. It's beyond the Kanose. The tomb was, for all intents and purposes, completely sealed off from the rest of the world. What a waste of time. How can it be any more obvious? Dirk must be the killer. Thanks for nothing, gallery guy. As if our graves weren't already deep enough.